We all know and love the Terraria bosses, but which one is the smartest? In today's video, we'll be ranking all of the Terraria bosses from Giga Brain all the way to Potato Brain. We'll be ranking them based off what the boss actually is, their abilities, and the lore behind them. Before we start, hi, my name is Tipalooza, and I'll be with you guys for the duration of this video. If you end up enjoying this video, make sure to like and comment your thoughts about my choices. With that out of the way, let's start with the Eye of Cthulhu. Okay, starting with the Eye of Cthulhu, I mean, there's not really much else to say, but it's just a massive eye, you know what I mean? It is a part of Cthulhu, you know, there's like Brain of Cthulhu, Eye of Cthulhu, etc. So Cthulhu is like this devil guy who tried to like attack Terraria or something, and then all the dryads like fought it. That's why the dryad in the game lore is like 5,000 years old or something. But yeah, it's not really much else but an eye. It doesn't really have much of a brain. There's not really much else unique with it either. It just spawns eyes out of its eye, I guess. And then in its second form is just, he just gets angrier. So without a doubt, it is Potato Brain. The King Slime is just a massive slime, and it just spawns other slimes that just bounce around. It's not really smart, there's nothing really unique with it. But the ninja inside the slime actually is the guard's brother, if you didn't know. That's just an interesting little lore fact for you. So I'm going to be quick with this one. It has got nothing unique, it is pretty dumb, it is just a massive slime. But it's got a massive crown on its head, so you have to be somewhat smart to put that on its head. But yeah, Potato Brain. The Brain of Cthulhu is a very, very weird boss. It is the only boss in the game that is vulnerable to knockback. And like the Lunatic Cultist, it can also mirror itself in Expert and Master mode. And obviously it is the Brain of Cthulhu. However, inside the brain, when you get into the second phase of the Brain of Cthulhu, there's like a weird heart in it, so that's kind of confusing, you know what I mean? Like, how can a heart be inside a massive brain? But I guess it is Cthulhu, so he's probably just built like that, you know what I mean? Built different. So I'm going to be actually putting this in Giga Brain, because it does utilize its brain really well. I mean, at the end of the day, it is just a brain. The Eater of Worlds is just a worm. I mean, it's not really eating any worlds, to be honest. I mean, worms have brains, so I guess he's not really like a potato brain. No, actually, no, he's actually kind of smart, because when you break the Eater of Worlds, he turns into like two worms, you know what I mean? So like every individual segment of the Eater of Worlds technically has a brain of itself, so it can like move around. And I think that's pretty smart. Like, I'm gonna put him at just smart, to be honest. Because, like, yeah, he's just a worm, but he knows how to do all of that, you know what I mean? Bees in real life, I'm pretty sure are really smart. And with the queen bee, I mean, not only is it a queen bee, it's also just a big bee, you know what I mean? It's like the center of the hive. It can fly around, it can, like, poison you. And to be honest, when it stings you, it doesn't just die, you know what I mean? Because, like, when bees sting you in real life, they actually, like, pull their guts or something and they end up dying. I would love to put it in just smart, because she probably is just smart. But as an actual boss in Terraria, like, ignoring what it actually is, it doesn't really do much, like, significantly smart. So for that, I'm going to put her in just normal. Skeletron is the skull of Cthulhu, and it was ripped apart when the Dryads did their thing, you know what I mean? And I don't really know why he's in the dungeon. I'm pretty sure it's because he's like guarding the actual dungeon, and because the mechanics in the dungeon too, and the mechanic made all of the mechanical bosses. But taking the game lore aside, it's a really interesting boss because it has two arms, and it controls the arms, you know what I mean? And it uses its head to like spin around and all that, which is really interesting because he's just a skull, but he uses that, you know, to his advantage. So to be honest, he's not really awfully smart, but he's not dumb either. So I'm going to put him at normal. Deerclops is a really unique boss because it actually comes from another game, Don't Starve Together. I'm pretty sure if you know Terraria, you probably also know Don't Starve Together too. It's kind of similar to Terraria, but it is a boss inside of Don't Starve Together. If you look at Deerclops, he looks really dumb. He's just a deer with one eye, and he makes like a lot of weird deer noises. But I do like how he uses like physical capabilities to like bring ice up from the ground and like use snow and all that. And he's not really smart, and he does look dumb and sound dumb. So I'm just going to put him at dumb. Okay, with the Wall of Flesh, something interesting. I'm just looking up at the lore. The Wall of Flesh is the world's guardian. Once it's defeated, the world itself searches for a new guardian to take its place. And the Hollow Biome is released as a temporary guardian. So I had no idea. I thought it was just like an evil guy. You know what I mean? It's just a massive wall, I guess. But apparently it was the Terraria world's guardian at one point. I mean, it's kind of a cool boss. It's just a bunch of eyes glued to some flesh. And then there's a bunch of random guys, like the Hungry, who just eat you up, you know what I mean? Let's think, if this was condensed into a human, like what would that brain be? You know what I mean? Obviously it's a little bit unrealistic, but oh yeah, we'll just put him at Potato Brain. The Queen Slime is probably one of the more aesthetically pleasing bosses, alongside with the Empress of Light. It is a hollowed boss like the Empress of Light. And I really do like the color scheme that it uses. It really does match the hollowed biome. I really like the visual effects of it too. And I like how it flies and all that, and it does utilize that pretty well. It is pretty much just, again, with the hard mode bosses that are like the pre-hard mode bosses, just completely jacked up versions of itself. If you've seen the video, if you keep the slimes alive, there's just like massive pink balls just flying everywhere. It's so funny. But yeah, like with the slimes, there's not really much to base them off, but I'm just going to put out normal. The mechanical bosses are all buffed up versions of other bosses. You know, you've got the Eye of Cthulhu, you've got Skeletron, you've got the Eater of Worlds, and then you got the mechanical versions of them. But with the twins, it's 2 of the Eye of Cthulhu's pretty much. There's 2 Eye Cthulhu's, but they're completely jacked up. And when they go into their second phase, not only are they losing like the main eye part and then they go angrier, they also turn mechanical from them. So they don't begin being mechanical bosses until you actually get them into their second phase. So that's the unique thing with this mechanical boss. And there are 2 bosses in the one boss, I guess. I mean, in comparison to the other bosses coming up, I mean, they don't really do much unique. They just have like one ability, one shoots lasers, one shoots like fucking green gas everywhere. I mean, it's cool and all. It's not that smart. I'm just gonna put them at normal. Okay, the Destroyer is... I mean, just the Destroyer, it has the same AI as the Eater of Worlds. It is faster, I'm pretty sure. It's longer, and when you do, like, break the little red orb things, they do give you health. So, I mean, I don't think it's really much of a hard boss. It's probably the easiest mechanical boss to fight. And, I mean, I'll just put them at dumb, to be honest, because it just moves around. I forgot where I put the Eater of Worlds, but it doesn't split into 2, obviously. So, yeah, we'll just put this one at dumb. Now, Skeletron Prime, however, is one of my favorite bosses. I mean, I have a lot of favorite bosses, but I really do like this one. How I think about Skeletron Prime is if Skeletron was taking steroids and on crack. But to be fair, I mean, it is pretty true. Skeletron Prime has spikes on his skull. He's got a cannon, he's got a saw, he's got a vice, he's got a laser, like, he's got everything, bro. I mean, it's really hard to look at this and not think to put him at Giga Brain. Like, I know these things don't even have brains because they were actually made, but still, like, it is just, like, so cool. And it can, like, easily overwhelm, like, the player with having, like, 4 hands going at you and then him just, like, spinning around really fast with his fucking spikes on his skull. Like, without a doubt, Giga Brain. Plantera is my favorite boss by far. I just love everything about it. I like its second form and the boss music is just amazing. Plantera is also linked with the rock band Plantera, which is actually Senex's favorite band. Plantera is also at my favorite stage of the game, when you start becoming like invincible to almost anything other than bosses. And when you kill Plantera, the evil biome actually stops spreading by 50%, so it's actually like really important to do that so you can actually contaminate the whole world. The lore behind Plantera is that it's an overgrown flower created to defend the Dryads from Cthulhu, and Cthulhu, just to let you know, he was trying to take over the whole world and like dominate the whole world. This also links with the evil biomes spreading 50% slower because of, you know, like the Dryads and all that. I'm a little biased towards Plantera, but if it did manage to defend the Dryads who did end up beating Cthulhu up, it would have to be pretty smart to do that. And he learns something new every day. The Golem in Terraria is actually a god. The Golem is the guardian of the lizard clan, and the Golem is the ancient idol worshipped by the lizards. Unlike most other cases, Golem quite actually was a god, or at least possessed by a spirit strong enough to live up to the legends of the lizard god. He was disabled and dismantled many years back, but the means to reactivate him are in plain sight. Thanks Google for that. By the time you actually get to fight Golem, he is one of the weakest bosses in the game. And I don't know why he's really weak when he is like an actual god for the lizard people. The Golem looks dumb, he kind of is dumb, but the lizard people actually looked up to him. So I don't know, I'm just gonna balance them out and put him at normal. The Empress of Light is just in another realm of reality. It by far has the most glamorous effects. The visual effects are just through the roof. And it is a fan favorite for undisclosed reasons for some people. And the addition of the daytime Empress of Light too, that gives you the Terra Prisma, is just like a pretty good idea. Unquestionably, Giga Brain, it is just in another realm of reality. Like I said, it just moves and does what it wants to do. The effects are just awesome. There is nothing wrong about this boss. It is just Giga Brain. Oh, and I was just looking. In Terraria, the Empress of Light is an ancient dryad who became powerful by absorbing the essence of light. So I had no idea about that with the lore, so that's interesting. Duke Fishron is a pig, a shark, and a dragon all combined in one, and he does look like all three of them. He is extremely fast. He uses tornadoes. A bunch of sharks come out of those tornadoes. He has another one where like a bunch of sharks come from. He just Gigabrain. That's all I'm gonna say. He is the leader of all of the sharks and all of the ocean critters in Terraria. He is an optional boss, so there's not much lore to go with him. But just based on how fast he is, his abilities, and you know his second form when he goes even faster, it's hard to put him anywhere else other than Gigabrain. The Lunatic Cultist is the main antagonist of Terraria. He is a cult leader worshipping the Moon Lord, responsible for the kidnapping of the mechanic and the creation of the dungeon and the 3 mechanical replicas of the Cthulhu, Eater of Worlds, and Skeletron. So the Lunatic Cultist trapped the mechanic in the dungeon to work on the mechanical bosses against their will. And Lunatic Cultist was a part of the cult who worships Moon Lord. I mean, that's not really nice of Lunatic Cultist to do that. But another thing about Lunatic Cultist is it is my least favorite boss in Terraria. It is so annoying. I hate when it turns into like 3 versions, and if you hit the wrong one, this massive dragon comes and bites your ass. It's just so annoying. And I mean, he's a cult leader. He worships Moon Lord. I guess that doesn't mean he's smart, but the abilities that he entails is pretty smart. I don't think he's enough to be put at Gigabrain, but if you look at the visual effects, I mean, he does use a lot of his capabilities well, and yeah, I think it would just be fair to put him at just smart. Okay, last but certainly not least, the Moon Lord. The Lord of the Moon is debated to be Cthulhu, because the Cthulhu went to the dark side of the moon when he got beat up in order to regenerate, and this guy is called the Moon Lord. It would have been cool if there was actually Cthulhu in the game, but this is close enough to Cthulhu we will ever get. He is also theorized to be Cthulhu's brother, but I highly doubt that. I think he actually is Cthulhu. But there is literally no one who would disagree with me when I put him at Gigabrain. I mean, his brain is so big you can even see it through his skull. It actually took Xenix over a month to create all of the sprites for Moonlord, so that's like all of the art for him. And it's kind of weird because he has no legs. He's just pulled out from his abdomen. So maybe he had the rest of his body, but something happened to it. I mean, there's a lot to theorize here. You know, he looks like a squid, you know what I mean? He looks like an ocean creature, but if it was like human. And that massive beam that goes around the world, I mean, that is just unforgiving. And I like how the hands move, you know what I mean? And it's actually like a boss with the sprite having like a full-on animation. And I mean, it is the coolest last boss of any video game in my opinion. And also, without a doubt, Gigabrain. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end of the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down what you would do differently with this tier list. Obviously, it is my tier list. But if you do have any thoughts, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much to Sam ITF for being a channel member for 2 months, Newbie Gamer for being a channel member for almost 6 months, and Yakaboon for being the tier 2 member for Diplo's daddy. Thank you all the channel members. Make sure if you want to join the channel members, you get a shout out at the end of every YouTube video, and if you contact me on Discord, you'll get some extra information. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This will be uploaded at the end of 2024. This has been an awesome year, but I'll see you next year.